everybody, it's Vanessa, the Crafty Gemini. Welcome to episode number 170 of WIP Wednesday, which is my weekly live show. Let's do a quick check and make sure that y'all can see me and hear me, because I heard something funky coming from the computer. So let's make sure that y'all can see me and hear me just fine, and if you can, let me know where you're tuning in.
Hey everybody, it's
in
Vanessa,
the
the
chat box
Crafty
below.
Gemini. Welcome to episode number
All right, so let's say hi to some friends.
of
Monique
WIP
is in
Wednesday,
the house.
which is
Hey,
my
girl.
weekly live
Hi,
show.
Rebecca from
Let's do a
California. We got Marilyn from Wake Forest, North Carolina tuning in. Claudia from North Carolina. Sheila from Massachusetts. Over. Hi, Carol, tuning in from Michigan. Hi, Rebecca. She says she's in South Miami, Florida, the 305, my hometown. 305 for sure. Let's see. Margie's in the house from Wisconsin. We got Pat from Sun City Center, Florida. Cool. I'm coming to y'all from my home crafting studio here in North Central Florida, where it's nice and sunny today. I had to run out and water my seedlings before they dried all the way out. Okay, let's see. Who else? Okay, good. Y'all can see me and hear me. Good, Tracy. She says it's much better now. Great. All right. So for today's live, I kind of wanted to get y'all's feedback, of course, but also kind of walk you through how I think when I'm choosing a new online course, especially when it comes to garment sewing, because y'all know that I love to use Jalie sewing patterns. And Jalie is a French-Canadian family company. They make amazing patterns in a ton of different sizes, which I love. If you have kids or grandkids or family members that you like to make clothes for and they're still in the growing stages of life, then you know that these patterns come in really handy, because like I did. I made my kids the clothes when they were 5, when they were 7, when they're 8, when they're 9. And as they keep growing, I just pick a larger size and reuse the pattern, because I just trace off the size that I need. Now, the hard copy patterns, and I always talk about this whenever I release a new Jalie course, they include typically about 28 sizes in the hard copy pattern. And that's usually what we sell, whether it's standalone in our online shop that we sell them, or in our kits. When I launch a new class, if we're able to, and it doesn't use so much yardage, and we can package up some kits, and then we sell it that way with the fabric, usually the thread, a needle or something, and then the hard copy pattern, okay? They are now making the patterns in terms of sizes a little bit more extended. So although the sizes, the larger sizes, like 1X to 5X, don't fit on the regular hard copy pattern, you know, the printer sheet paper that they typically print the patterns on, what they do is that they allow you to purchase a PDF version for sizes 1X through 5X. It's in a PDF version. So you can tile the sheets together and put the size that you need together. So it allows us even more sizes. So beyond the 28 typical sizes that they include in their hard copy patterns. Okay, thanks everybody for tuning in. Yes, Laura says another Jalie pattern course. I love them. And you make amazing stuff. Whenever Laura makes the patterns for her little twin toddlers, I'm not sure, are they toddlers still? They might be a little bit older than that. But she makes 2 of them, like the little pajama sets. I remember that, little hoodies and stuff. You do an awesome job, Laura. So I can't wait to see what you end up doing for this. This one is probably going to be for you. All right. So let's go ahead and give, oh, she says they're 5 now. You see, I knew they were a little bit older. I thought maybe they were 4 or 5. Let's go ahead and give them the over-the-shoulder shot, which we got. Great. A sip of water for me. And then we're going to go one by one. I actually also happen to have some of the samples of these patterns. So if that helps, I'll kind of hang it up and show you. So we're going to start off, and this is basically the 4 patterns that I have narrowed it down to. I'm always kind of in contact with Emily over at Jalie. And, you know, I'm always asking her for tips, things that she's seen that people have trouble with. And so then I tend to incorporate that when I'm producing my online video course, to make sure that I touch on any things that they have seen there while they were pattern testing, or from other customers and things like that. So, I mean, I think I do a pretty good job covering a ton of stuff in these courses. So whenever you see one of my garment sewing classes, and we have a ton right now, I did go ahead and put the link in the description box below to some of the patterns that we're talking about today that I do have in stock. We don't have a bunch of them, but if you see one that you like, and you know, maybe I end up teaching that one, maybe I don't. I just wanted to kind of go through the top 4 that I have right now that I'm considering for the next class. Okay, so we're going to start off with the L. And I've made several of these in the past. This is and I'll read you the description because we go through this every time I go through a new pattern. I always tell y'all as my students to read whatever the sentence or two description is. Usually there's a ton of info there, and just off of the description, you can kind of get a feel for what the pattern is going to be like in terms of how it's going to look and fit, and in the sewing. So let's have a look. The little description here for the Jalie Elle says loose fitting dolman top. Right there. This is not form fitting, meaning if you're going by your size and your measurements, it's already designed to fit you loose at that size. You don't need to keep sizing up because you think if I choose my size based on my measurements, it's going to fit me snug. It won't, because the pattern designers have designed it already to fit loose fitting. Make sense? So loose fitting dolman top. What do we know about a dolman top? A dolman top means it doesn't have a set in sleeve. It's not like the bodice stops here at the shoulder and then you're setting in a sleeve, okay? If you've made my Westchester dolman top before, you know what that is, where the front, the bodice front, and the sleeves are together in one pattern piece. So you already know you're cutting less pieces right there, okay, when it tells you dolman top. Okay, so loose fitting dolman top. Notice those 4 words, and I've told you so much about what the pattern is going to be like already. Loose fitting dolman top with a twist detail that you can wear in the front or in the back. So that tells me it has a twist. One side of it has a twist feature on it, and you can wear it in the front or the back. What does that mean? The shirt is reversible, okay? So a couple things to think about when we hear a reversible shirt. So I'm gonna kind of walk you through how I tend to think of things, how I think beginners will likely encounter this pattern if they try to make it, and things that I think about when I go to produce a video course to teach y'all, okay? So I'll give you another close-up here. There's a twist, and they have the same model with the twist in the front in a close-up version, and here she has it in the back. Let me see if y'all can see that. It's a little bit glary too, but I want you to, oh my goodness, there. So you can see the twist, how it fits on the back, and this is the front of it when the twist is on the back. So it's pretty basic and almost boxy looking on the front, okay, if you don't have the twist feature on the front, okay? This one obviously has it here, but we'll get into that in a second. So here you see it on a child, here's on another adult, and I love the way that Jalie does it. They style different size models, different ages, and they also kind of always feature some type of either like a plain fabric that's more like a basic to add to your wardrobe, and then something funkier, either with a large print or a floral or something like that. So for those of us that like to go a little bit more wild, when we're making garments that we want to wear, we can do that as well. So this is like a tie-dye knit here, and so one thing you want to note is right here on the top left. This one says it is for stretch knits. So we know a lot about this pattern already, okay? It's going to be a dolman top. It's loose fitting, so it's going to be a breezy tee, okay? Has a twist feature that you can, this kind of little embellishment here, notice that it goes up where the twist is. So if you are not going to wear it with an undershirt, then know that your belly's going to be out. You know what I mean? Like you have to look at all the different components that make up the garment. If you want to have a little bit of that glam look with the twist on the back, I think that is super chic. And that way the front is a little bit more plain. So then you also kind of want to think about what type of fabric you're going to use to make that, okay? This version here, you can see that there is, if we look down here, in the line drawing is a really great place to get an idea of what it's going to take to bring the pattern together and what are your options. So they're always going to have like the different looks down here. So here you see it's the sleeveless version because it's a dolman. So it has a little bit of a sleeve that's built in. That's the one that you can see kind of on the girl here. All right, that it's like a little bit of a sleeve just sticking out because it's not separate, right? Then you have the twist. You can see where the stitching lines are. That's just all the hems. Pretty basic with the twist. Whatever side has the twist, when you flip it over, it just looks like this. So pretty basic, okay? Then the other option shows a longer sleeve. So I know a lot of times if we do sleeveless things, some of you will ask, well, can we add a sleeve to it? Normally, if it's a set-in sleeve, you'd have to draft a sleeve to get it to fit into the arm's eye of that finished bodice piece, okay, of whatever the pattern is. But this one, because it's a dolman sleeve, it's a little bit slouchier and it's already coming over. So when we add the sleeve, it ends up just cascading down like this, but it does give you that upper arm coverage that I know a lot of you ask for in patterns, okay? So pretty basic. As you can see, there's no elastic, there's no buttons, there's no zippers, there's nothing fancy. The fanciest part of this is going to be manipulating that fabric to get a twist. okay? Which can be a little bit fussy and tricky if you're not used to like dealing with a lot of yardage loose like that. And I'm speaking from experience because I've made the top. I've made it small for my daughter maybe like 4 or 5 years ago out of like a light jersey knit. And then I made one for my mother-in-law out of like a light kind of animal print knit a few years back. So if we flip it over, this is the next thing that I would look at. If so far you're like, okay, I like it, I think I want to make it. Go down here to the back pattern pieces, y'all. And you know, I tell you, what do I usually say to my students? If you're looking at a new sewing pattern to try and you are new to sewing or relatively new, maybe you've made a couple plain t-shirts or leggings or something simple, look here. If it has less than 5 or 6 pieces, I would recommend that for a beginner. Just because if you go down here and see the number of pattern pieces and you see 14, those are 14 different pieces of fabric that you need to cut out and then hopefully sew them back together super accurately. So I know from experience from teaching people for almost 2 decades now, a lot of beginners will get discouraged because it's like too much, it's overwhelming. They're not even sure if they're cutting it out accurately. Did I cut out the right pattern template piece? They might have 7 pattern pieces in their size correctly traced out or cut out, and then they might mess up and have 2 other ones in different sizes. So when they get to sewing, it doesn't match. It can be a big mess, okay? So try to stick to something that has less pattern pieces. 1, 2, 3. 3 pieces, okay? So all you have are 3 pattern template pieces. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean that that's the size of the pieces because you can see here there's a fold line. That's telling us that needs to be cut on the fold. That's the whole front, okay? Or the front or the back, depending on how you're wearing it. But one side is B, one side is A, okay? And you're going to cut 2 of these. All right, and this is that weird asymmetrical shape is what's going to give you when it tells you like pull it this way, sew it here, sew it there, is what's going to give you the twist. Okay, so you have that, and then the C pattern piece here, which I haven't used. So the one that I did, all the ones I've made just had 2 pattern template pieces. The other one, C, is for that added extra length of the sleeve, but that's it. So this would be a good one for a beginner who is a little bit confident in working their sewing machine to tackle, okay? The trickiest part of this is going to be choosing the right fabric, all right? So we look back here, it asked for stretch knits that feature 10% stretch along this way, the crosswise grain. So that's the hardest part because most knits that you like and are kind of drapey, most of them, at least the ones that I've worked with, will have like 30 to 70 or even 100% stretch knit. So what does that mean? If the pattern calls for only 10% stretch and I have a fabric that I love, I think is going to work great for this pattern, but it has 60% stretch, that means it's going to fit me a lot bigger than what the pattern designer intended because the fabric has that much more stretch, meaning the neckline is going to be wider and the top is going to finish longer. So if you're adding on that additional chunk of sleeve, it might fit you like down to here because gravity is now pulling on the additional available stretch in that fabric. Does that make sense? So it's a little tricky. Let's see. Rebecca's asking, if we didn't want the twist, can we cut 2 of the non-twist one? I think you can. You know, I haven't made it like that, so I'm not exactly sure. But looking at this one, and the only reason I'm a little hesitant to say for sure is because I'm not sure if one of the pieces on here are shaped differently to create some type of a shaping, but that would be a pretty basic dolman top if you did that, just the front and the back and threw it together. You could. It kind of reminds me a little bit of the Jalie Bobby, right? Except the Bobby has more of a faux V-neck with a little shelf undershirt kind of bra thing underneath it, but similar style with that dolman sleeve that doesn't go too far out. Okay. All right. Let's see. Okay, good. Yes, Tamara says I try to do patterns with 5 or less. Less is better, for sure. So this is one of the L's, and I think this is the largest size that came in the hard copy. A GG, maybe not. I think this was a double D size, which would be the equivalent of a woman's size 20. And this is just a sample from Jalie. So one thing to note, remember we said the pattern called for 10% stretch? I'm going to stretch this fabric out just so you see how much this has. And this is like a sheer slub knit is what this would be called because it's not super sheer, but it's kind of. Okay, it's a lightweight slub knit. I'm going to grab it on grain. So let me grab a chunk from the back that doesn't have that twist. So this would be crosswise, this way. I'm going to fold it and do my 4-box check here. 25, 50, 75, 100. So notice what I said. This knit works. It's slinky, it's lightweight, it has good drape to it, but it has 100% stretch. So that's probably why I thought it was the largest size, the GG, but it's not. So this actually is coming out to like a size 24 versus a size 20 because of all that additional stretch. Plus you have lengthwise stretch too, which means that this added chunk of sleeve is going to fit even longer because we have stretch going this way as well. Okay, so I know that that's tricky, so you can't really say like exactly what type of fabric. The designers don't really know where you get your fabric, what fabric it is, and they're not selling you the patterns with fabrics. So it's up to you to kind of play around, but every garment that you make and you're working, especially when it comes to knit fabrics, with every one, you're going to get better, you're going to have more experience, and then you'll start to kind of put it together like this fabric won't work for this, and this one might work for that. So anyway, that's one with a sub tissue knit, and that is the Jalie Elle. It's a cute little pattern, you know, depending on how casual of a fabric you use. You could even make it like, if you have a knit that stretchy, like a little cover up. You know, if you're going on a cruise or beach or the pool, you can throw that over top, right? And just have like a flowy skirt or some shorts underneath, and that would work for that if you made it out of like a casual knit that's kind of loose and breezy. All right, let's see. Yes, Windless Original says, I'd like to make a bobby for Mother's Day for my mom. Glad I have the classes to look back on. Absolutely. So that's a quick reminder to anybody who's new here. Whenever you sign up for any of my paid courses or paid clubs, you don't lose access to it. You can always just log back in, watch the videos, rewind, replay, rewatch, rewind, replay. They're there for you whenever you need them to log in and access the courses. All right. Next one, so that was the Jalie Elle. Pretty basic, like I said, few pattern pieces, pretty straightforward in terms of what you're cutting out to put together. And because you're not using that much fabric, even if you mess it up, if you get some kind of inexpensive fabric that still meets the stretch knit requirements and the drapiness requirements, I think you'll be able to make another one. You know what I mean? Like, even if you don't love it, it's like, okay, it wasn't that much work, I can try it again. And just for the fabric, to mention it here, the description for the recommended fabrics that they put just says lightweight knit with little stretch. So if you know you have a lightweight knit in your stash with little stretch, set it aside, put Jalie Elle, and that might be a good one for you to do. All right, so next one is the Sylvie, the Jalie Sylvie. Now, these are, well, let's read the description. It's not on here. It's on here. The description. Let me see if I have it on here. Nope, not on here. Let me pull it up right quick. Because they used to print all the size charts in the back like this with the full description. But I bet you people probably started throwing this away, and then we're throwing away this. So let me look it up right quick, just so I can read you, because I'm telling you, from that 1 or 2 sentence description, you can get so much info. So this is the Sylvie. All right, they're shorts and pants, by the way. Here goes. The Sylvie. The pattern is designed for knit fabrics. It's a pair of high-waisted, wide-leg pants. If you don't like high-waisted, don't ask if you can modify it and how you can make it low or mid, whatever. It's not for you. It's easier, especially if you're just starting off, to find patterns that have the description of what you're looking for, okay? So if you like high-waisted neckbands, then you know you can continue reading on, okay? High-waist, wide-leg pants, they're wide-leg. If you don't like wide-leg, this ain't for you, because the pattern legs are drafted for wide legs, and you can see kind of how it falls. You can imagine if it's a light, like kind of not lightweight, because it still needs to be a bottom weight since they're pants, but you know, not super heavyweight. They're going to be more flowy and drapey versus these guys. These, you can tell the fabric has a little bit more structure to it, so it hangs as a full wide leg at the bottom. This one has the kind of the capri version, and you can see that it's a little bit more structured in terms of how the bottom of the pant leg falls because of the type of fabric that they used, okay? So it has the high waist, wide-legged pants with a wide waistband that hits at the belly button. There is a secret pocket on the inside of the waistband that you can use to carry a key, your card, or your money. So it has it here. The pants I'm going to show you don't have that built in, but obviously that's an option that you can put in there. I'm going to show you the pair of pants that I have. They're my favorite cruise pants. I take them on every cruise. They're super breezy, big floral print. So if you take summer vacations and do that kind of stuff, this is a great one for that. It says the pants are fitted at the waist and the hips, straight from the hips down. Okay, so it's not going to be a curvy where it's like wider at the hips and the thighs and then like slim down like a skinny pant. You already know it's going straight down from the hips down. They come in 2 lengths. You got shorts and pants, and there are instructions showing where you can cut it for the cropped length. Palazzo pants that are as easy as leggings to sew. All right, so it says you can make them out of a soft knit. What they're recommending here is stretch knits with 50% stretch in the crosswise and the lengthwise grain. Great option, right? Because a lot of the knits that we tend to find are going to be able to fit these requirements a little bit more. So Sylvie, super cute. You can see it, different body types on a little kid in short version, wide waistband, or the wide pants, okay? This is a fave. Let me show you the ones I got. Excuse them, they're very well worn. This is a knit. This is like, this is not like an ITY knit because the ITY knit feels more cold. I don't know how to explain that, but it's like a cold feeling or cold, cold feeling. These are size AABB, okay? Wide waistband. You're sewing this all on a sewing machine. You don't need to have a serger. Can you give them the front camera shot just so I can show them up a little bit more and shake it so y'all can see how breezy? Yes, I wear these on every cruise. So you see how it goes straight down, but look at the weight and the slinkiness of this. When I tell you comfy, y'all, so comfy, okay? So it's like it says, palazzo pants that are as easy as leggings to sew. So this is another one, a great beginner-friendly project. Just to show y'all, that is the Jalie Sylvie. Now, I did go ahead and include links in the video description box below to some of these patterns. I don't have the Sylvie in stock, so I think I just linked y'all to the Jalie website, but I think the others, we have some of them in stock, okay? So, real quick, the Sylvie. 1, 2, 3. 3 pieces. 3 pattern templates, let me say that. The pants, the waistband, and the optional pocket. Don't put the pocket, you got 2 pattern pieces. When I tell you Jalie knows what they're doing, they know what they're doing. That's why I be teaching a bunch of these classes. Imagine changing up the fabric, you have completely different pair of pants. If you are looking for comfy legging type of pants, but you need to wear them to work or to a more business casual environment, hello, use a more structured fabric and they'll fit more like these. Okay, literally looking like slacks for work. Perfect. So you can see why I picked this one as one of my top ones. So that's the Jalie Sylvie, another one. Let's move on. Here I have the Florence, the Jalie Florence. Let me make sure. Yeah. So the Jalie Florence. Okay. Let's have a look at the description. Boxy. Don't ask if it's shaped at the waist. It's telling you in the first word of the description, it is boxy. It's a boxy button front shirt and shirt dress with a band collar. Cut-in sleeves finished with a band and rectangle chest pockets. I mean, it literally, the description is the best thing you can read before diving into a pattern. We know it's boxy. Button front shirt. Y'all, if you are still afraid of your buttonhole foot, I was going to say this one's not for you, but maybe it is for you because this will get you using it, okay? If you've never put in a button placket like that with buttons on a shirt and this is something that you want to do, this would be a great one to kind of step up a confident beginner, right? If you've made leggings, you made a couple t-shirts, I think this would be the next great step where you're kind of expanding a little bit on your skills and techniques, but still keeping it pretty simple because notice it said rectangle chest pockets. Those are going to be optional. If you don't want to put the pockets, don't make the pockets. And that's another thing that I tell students is when you're tackling a new project, don't feel like you have to do the most complex view of it. If it has this and that and this and that, you know, you don't need to do all that. Simplify the project down to where you just have maybe just the shirt without those 2 pockets. That way you practice the collar, you practice the buttonholes and installing buttons. And then you put in the extra time and effort to add the front pockets if you want to. Maybe the next one you want to do is the shirt dress version. I would recommend starting off with just the shirt, right? So we have 2 different views here. One obviously uses a lot more fabric than the other. And so I always recommend that you do the more simplified version first. So you jump in, you kind of see how the pattern comes together from beginning to end. And then if you like it, you know, make it again in the longer one, okay? So boxy, button front. So we're installing buttonholes. We're installing buttons. You could do a shirt or shirt dress. It has a band collar. This is different. Most of the classes that I've taught so far with the Jalie patterns have featured either some type of a facing for the neckline area or different binding techniques where it's fully bound, or sometimes it's just sewing on a neckband. So this would be something different if I taught this class for y'all with a band collar. It also has cut-in sleeves that are finished with a band. So you're getting kind of a little bit of a more elevated level of technique, I would say, to finish off the garment. If we look here, can y'all see those lines? Yeah, lightly, but you can kind of see them. So this is the shirt version, the front and the back. And then the other option that you have is the shirt dress. Now notice it has that pleat in the back. So because it's boxy, for those of us that are narrower at the waist and wider at the hips, that pleat there is going to allow the shirt to open up a little bit wider at your hips. So you still get the boxy look from the front, but it's not super tight on you at the hips because you have a little bit more room right there because of that pleat that can open up a little bit. And then obviously you have that pleat but extended further down for the shirt dress option for the same reason. You don't want to be, you know, in a tube wearing this as a shirt dress where you can't really walk or it doesn't even get past your hips. You have that built in there so you can more comfortably walk. And you can see that it's quite breezy when you look at the shirt dress options here. Okay, super cute. This top I love the color too. So you can see the band collar. This looks super cute together. I feel like it's such a kind of a modern take on a button-down shirt, right? So another cute one. The pattern template pieces, yes, we're looking at a few more, but here's the best part, y'all. The shirt dress option has pockets. How many of y'all want to make a little shirt dress with pockets? That's when I was like, okay, this is cool. This is good. So the shirt dress option has pockets, okay, and buttons. So we have 1, 2, 3, okay, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 total pieces. But of course, that is including the extra pieces that you need if you're making the shirt dress. All right. And then, so if you took off the shirt dress version, let me see. I don't have the pattern right here, so I can't see where this is broken up. But part of the bottom here is going to be, some of it is going to be just for the shirt top, and some of it is obviously the extended length for the shirt dress. So I would say 1, 2, 3 at the back. So really, if you're making the top, it's more like 5 pieces, 4 or 5 pieces, because you don't use the pockets. And you don't use the side pockets, and then you can also leave off the front patch pockets, right? So that's 2 other pieces from there that you can take off. So this would be a cute one to kind of like, if you've been making a bunch of classes with me and we have simplified all the stretch knits, you know, t-shirts, pajama pants, leggings, all this kind of stuff that we've made. I've done some classes on wovens, but this would be one that would kind of take you, you know, like, okay, I'm a beginner. I'm ready to make something that looks a little bit more fancy in terms of the finishings, okay? Let's have a look at the fabrics. Here it tells us this is for woven fabrics, so you know what that means, no stretch. Obviously, that's why you need the pleat in the back, because the fabric's not stretching for you at the hips or as you walk, so you need to have that built into the construction of using the woven fabrics. So, fabric requirements here, or suggestions, I should say. Lightweight fabrics, of course, we want it to be breezy, with a soft hand and a nice drape. Then they give descriptions, or they give some examples. Linen, linen blends, chambray, a rayon challis, crepe de chine, and tencel lyocell. So that's kind of a lot of options. And if you don't have that much experience, that might be tricky to kind of find. But obviously, if I taught a class on this, I would source the fabrics for some kits. And since we do have a lot of options, just know that depending on which of these, so like when they give you an example like that of the different types of fabrics, these will work, but they may not work to finish the shirt or the shirt dress in the way that you want. So let me give you some examples. Here is a Florence. Is that what it is? Yeah, Florence. So many names. So this is in a little kid size L. This ends up being like a kid size 8. Okay? So cute. This is like a linen blend for sure. It's crisp, right? But it's still sheer. It's lightweight. But notice that this is not as drapey. It's not like if it was a super, super light rayon challis. It has a little bit more structure to it. And I feel like this is kind of dark. I don't know why, but cute buttons, 2 little patch pockets. So you see how the collar is separate? Kind of elevated from just a basic neckline, right? And then the sleeves have an added band. So that also kind of elevates it. Yes, there are more steps. There's a little bit more sewing, but for a simplified project, I think this would be a good one where we're kind of stepping it up this, and if you wanted to add those patch pockets, you could. And then, of course, the buttons and buttonholes. Now, let's flip it over and have a look at that little pleat. These are some fine, fine finishing touches. Notice it has this kind of curved seam here where the bottom comes in with that pleat. So this allows it to go open a little bit more with that room without it being super snug. Okay? So super chic finish. A lot of pretty top stitching. So get your threads ready if we do this one, okay? So that's one in a little kid size. This is the same size, the shirt dress version. Can you see how drapey that is? This is a rayon challis, feels like to me. And these are Jalie samples, so that's why. I didn't make these, so I'm not exactly sure, but it does feel like a rayon challis. Pockets, hello. Hello. We love a good pocket in a dress. The 2 patch pockets, and then, of course, the buttonholes. Look how chic that looks with that neckline and the added bands. You do want it to be drapey, though. Look how cute that is, huh? So, the back, I mean, that's just, ooh, the finishing is so good. Okay? So that's just a sample to show y'all in the kid size 7 or 8 or whatever that was. Here is the sample that the model is wearing right here. This is that dress. So again, this is, oh, the size is not there, but it looks maybe like an R, like a woman's size R, maybe like a size 2 or a 4. Because remember, it's made out of a woven and it's a dress. It's going to be made out of something drapey and breezy. So it's not going to fit you super snug. It's already designed to be breezy, right? Because it's a shirt dress. So again, we got pockets, some really pretty buttons. That's one thing that you will have to kind of source for yourself is if you're making a shirt dress, you're going to need to count. And of course, the pattern will give us all that. If we do a class on this, I'll walk you through all of that, you know, telling you exactly based on your size, how many buttons you need to get, right? So you can have matching or not matching. You can do some funky color blocking stuff and play around with the colors of the buttons. Y'all know that's my vibe. But we got the buttons, cute little sleeves. This kind of garment, I love these types of patterns for... Let me lighten that up so y'all can see the actual color. So I like this for any fabrics that are like large scale wild prints like this. You know, where if you chop this up, you wouldn't really be able to see too much. It's kind of like little blobs of color. But when you have it on a large swath of fabric like that, you can really appreciate kind of the abstract paintbrush vibe of this print. So for large scale florals, this also for me, you know, I'm thinking like me, like what would I use, pick, you know? So again, the little pleat on the back, breezy, and then it's just like a simple hem. Remember, all of these patterns, you can make all of them with just a home sewing machine. And when I teach the courses, I always teach you how to do it on a sewing machine. If there is something like we've done pajama pants or leggings and things, and they're quick, even quicker to make with a serger, then I usually include bonus videos and where I just show you like, hey, if you do have a serger, this is how you would do it. This is how you would put this project together. So when we're working with a woven, you can absolutely make it just on a plain home sewing machine. The same goes for any of the knits that we talked about today already. But I can also show y'all, you know, in my course, how to finish off the seams so you get a little bit more of a cleaner professional look on the inside and stuff like that. So cute. All right, let me pop into the chat since I've been running my mouth for a good bit. Oh, Zena says, I would like a slit on the side of that top. I feel like I've seen some people do it like that, where they did like little split hem on the side or something. Let me see. Yes, Winless Original says, it's why I decided to learn how to sew. I wanted to add pockets to everything. I agree. Gloria says, I like the shirt dress. That would be great to make and help with doing the buttonholes for sure. And you know what's good too is that even on this little kid size shirt, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 buttons. I promise, if we do a class like this and you tackle the buttonholes, you gonna get your buttonhole practice in. And of course, I always have you make it on a scrap piece of fabric first before we get right into it. Okay, so don't worry about that. You're not gonna get all the way through and then think, okay, now I'm about to mess up my shirt. We're gonna test it out first, okay? So I've done that before where I've taught it in an apron class to make a little buttonhole on the side for you to slip the tie around through. But usually on those projects like that, it's only like one buttonhole. You know, you might have 2 or 3 if it's adjustable or something like that. But when you're actually making a shirt, this is where it's going to be really important to make sure you mark, you do a sample one, you know exactly what the settings are on your machine, how you're going to set it up so that you don't go too long or too short on one and things like that. And then we'll talk all about the interfacings and how you want to interface some of these light drapey fabrics, because I think that's going to make a huge difference in terms of how the collar finishes and how you get these buttonholes to look good and kind of raised on the fabric versus sinking into it, which can be tricky sometimes when you're working with a lightweight fabric, okay? All right, so that is the Jalie Florence, okay? Next one, and I think I have, yeah, I do have one sample of it, but I don't have the full pattern here, is the Jalie Genevieve, okay? This is a long skirt or a shorter skirt. You can make it short or long, and then it has like a little, it's like a little, kind of like a little crossbody bag or a little purse of some kind that's separate here, like they're calling it a waist pouch on here. But let me pull up the description on this one. This again is kind of like a good one for a confident beginner because you're doing a few new things, you know, other than just basic sewing straight and whatever, because you have some elastic that you're working with. The skirt has pockets, okay? It has an option where it's just plain and then an option that has a buttons all the way down the front, so you get a couple different looks. So of course, if you did the buttons, you would get that buttonhole practice in as well. If you didn't, it would be like a super quick make. So here we go. Below the knee or midi skirt with inseam pockets, elasticized waistband that sits at a natural waist, and an optional waist pouch. Okay, so that's all it is. Below the knee or a midi skirt with inseam pockets, the elasticized waistband, and it has that optional little waist pouch, which in the picture of the cover of this on the internet you can see, and we have some of these in stock. One of the girls is kind of wearing it as a crossbody, like a little pouch that matches the same fabric of her skirt. It looks really cute. You have different views, the button front option, and then a regular front, which is just closed. It's just a chunk of fabric all the way, okay? And then the pouch with ties and belt loop that you can wear with the skirt. All right? So that is that one. Now this one has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pieces. So although it looks like a pretty simple skirt, if you're doing the one with the buttons, it's going to be a little bit more involved. The longer you make it, the more buttons you got to do and the more fabric it's going to take as well, okay? Let me just look real quick. I always look when it has elastic to make sure what the width of the elastic that's recommended is. It's 1.5 inch wide elastic. So, you know, just because it has elastic, don't think that you can get away with using your little 1/4 inch or 3/8 inch. You got to look and see what the pattern calls for in terms of the width of the specific elastic needed for the type of waistband they designed. Okay, so that's that. And I do have one sample of it. This one does not have the buttons, so it's just plain. Let me put it this way, I think, yeah. And this is size DD, which again is like a woman's size 20 in the US at least. But rayon challis, super breezy, has a seam down the back, okay, and the front. And then you have these side seams with those inseam pockets. And the waistband. It almost looks sheared, however you pronounce it. But you can see that the elastic is 1.5 inch wide, but there are a lot of lines of straight stitching. I see here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 lines of top stitching. Okay, so it's not going to pop really, and you get really good stretch to that. So pretty simple. Okay, you can really, I think you can really dress this one up or dress it down depending on the length, that you chose to make it at. But this would be another one. Like if you don't want to mess with pants and dealing with the rise and all that kind of stuff, and you're looking for some cute, simple skirts, that Genevieve pattern I think would be super cute too. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and take a quick poll in the chat box below for those of you that are tuning in live here so that I can get your vote. And then if you could leave the computer up once we're done here so I can see on the main chat, and tally up what the people chose. Because once I log off of mine, it's gone from here. Okay, so we have the Jalie Elle was the first one that I covered. E-L-L-E. Then we said the Sylvie, which were the pants with the high waistband that have a straight wide leg. Then we said the Florence, which is that button down top or button down shirt or shirt and shirt dress with the pleat on the back. And then we have the Genevieve, which I wonder if this is pronounced Genevieve. I don't know. Genevieve. Okay. Okay, good. You guys are chiming in. Put your your choices here. We're running like a live chat poll. Okay, good. Some of you are saying the Florence, the Florence, the Florence, the Sylvie, the Sylvie. Good. All right, awesome. Yeah, go ahead and just vote for your choice for which one you want to see me teach for my next Jalie course. No matter which one I end up doing, it's going to be great. It'll be super fun. And I think any of these would be perfect going into summer, right? Spring, summer time. Even if you live in colder climates, you can kind of layer these pieces up too. I think this would be super fun. I need some of these for summer vacays. So that's that. Go ahead and just put your choice in the chat box below, and I will tally that up and I'll send out an email, let y'all know what we end up deciding which one we're going to get so that I can get with Jalie. We're going to order some hard copy patterns in. I'll get some fabrics in that will work so that I can start, putting the class together and producing it for y'all. Okay? The other thing I wanted to mention today is just a quick heads up that my Snap Travel wallet is on sale this week only, okay? So I have to pop in on Wednesdays to let y'all know because by Friday, the price is going back up to $37. It's $27 right now, so it's $10 off the regular price for this wallet. I did include it in today's email newsletter. It's a Snap Travel wallet, so it has a snap for the closure. You can fit your passport. So when you're traveling, you know that's nice and wide here for the passport. Then that's the back pocket that's there. Then you have a zipper pocket right here, okay? And then you have card pockets right here, which I don't have cards right now. Let me see. Do I have any in here? No. Pretend. This is for, I usually have some like Dave & Buster's game cards here, but I'm always putting those same cards inside of different wallets. So, oh well, we'll pretend. You can't see it because it's there. But trust me, they fit the regular size cards. There's one pocket here for your ID or credit cards or gift cards or whatever. And then there's another pocket here for the same. So you have two, and they fit more than one card. So you can put like 2 or 3 cards in this pocket and just put 2 or 3 cards together in this pocket. Then you have that zip pocket and then the larger one for the passport. So my Snap Travel Wallet is what it's called, and the video course step-by-step, 7 video lessons that never expired. The link for this is in the description box below, so y'all can sign up for that class if you want to learn how to make this one in time for your summer travels. All right? Great. Lori's asking, do you have a video on how to use the tool for snaps? Yes, so if in any of my free video tutorials on YouTube that I install a snap, I show you how to use the snap tools. In any of my paid video courses where I install a snap, I show you how to install a snap. So basically, whenever you see me installing a snap with my Cam Snap tools, I teach you how to do it from scratch. Again, tell you these are the 4 pieces you need. This is how we make the hole. This is how we install it. So if you're in a class that features a snap closure, Lori, you can watch the lesson on it there. And then if you want to find it and watch other ways that I install snaps, just do a quick search on YouTube. Just type in CraftyGemini snaps and it'll pop up whatever I have, like snap pouches and little snap project tutorials like that. And then if I have WIP Wednesday episodes like I've done here, which I've done several demos on different projects, I also teach you, in those. Grace is asking, is that a part of any of the wallet clubs? This is actually a part of, I want to say Mini Bag Club 2. Somebody out there correct me if I'm wrong, but it's in one of the Mini Bag Clubs. Inquisitive is asking, do you have RFID material in the shop for the wallet? I don't, but in the classes where we make wallets, I usually will include an affiliate link to some RFID fabric that we've used in the past. It's super thin. You can get it on Amazon, and it's super thin. You can even put multiple layers. It's like nothing. We've done different tests and stuff in my mini bag clubs and my wallet clubs to see, like, is it too much if we add 2 layers? It's so thin, like you don't even notice it. It doesn't even really add a lot of bulk in the seam allowances either. So if you're wanting to use some RFID fabric, you can just add it in between the layers, no problem. Okay. Let's see. Mary's asking for suggested online sources for stretch fabric. So that's tricky because now, since we sell fabrics and we order fabric in to do kits and stuff, we order wholesale. So for stretch fabrics though, depending on what you're into, I would recommend looking at fabricmartfabrics.com. Sometimes they put fabrics on crazy sale, like 70, 80, 90% off. It's wild. And y'all have seen me, I have pulled fabrics out of my stash that I'm like, I bought this from Fabric Mart Fabrics for like $2 a yard, $1.99 a yard 10 years ago, and I still have it. Because when it's that cheap, I just buy like 5, 10 yards, and then I use it to make my prototypes or samples for a project that calls for that type of weight of fabric or that type of knit, okay? But Fabric Mart Fabrics, I would start there. I would recommend some of the others, but they have closed down too. Like Girl Charlie, I know that they closed down too. That's one of the ones that I usually would recommend too for stretch knits. Okay. All right. Oh, great. Yeah, Lori says she bought the wallet, this little Snap Travel wallet video. Good. Then I'll teach you. So you'll see in the video lesson on how to install the Snap. You'll learn how to do it step by step there. Okay. All right. So that is going to be it today. I'm going to start getting ready. We have volleyball practice tonight. We start playing games again next week, y'all. So, that's going to be it for me. I'm going to go in tonight and tally up from the chat to see what y'all thought or which one of these classes I should offer next for the Jalie next course, and then I will keep you posted on what I decide. It may not be the one that everybody voted for, but we'll see, depending on, the fabrics that we can get in and ordering the hard copy patterns in from Jalie. I also have something else big to announce, but not yet. It'll be coming soon. So we're doing some big stuff, some big fun classes that I hope that you all will tune in for. If you're new around here, make sure that you click the subscribe button here on YouTube so you can follow me here. You can also find me on Facebook, on Instagram, on TikTok. I'm in all those things. And I will give you a heads up. If you follow me on Instagram, watch my Instagram stories because that is the one place where I usually will give little behind the scenes tidbits of what is coming up next. And those of you that follow me there are always messaging me like, oh, I wonder what that is. Oh, I can't wait to see that. So that should be super, super fun. Yeah, you can go ahead and give them the front camera shot now. And that's that. So yeah, follow me on those different social media sites. Oh, and that's what I was going to say. Sign up for my email newsletter because that is where I send out the first dibs on anything. So if you want to be the first one to find out which one of the Jalie classes I'm going to be teaching next, sign up for my newsletter. The link for that is in the video description box below and in the caption. You can go to craftygemini.com/newsletter and sign up that way. It's free. It's just the way that we reach you via email with classes, tips, tricks, coupon codes, and all of that good stuff. All right. So thank you everybody for tuning in today. Thanks for asking some great questions. And thanks for being so excited about learning a little bit more, like how we break down the patterns, figuring out what fabrics and that kind of stuff. So I'm looking forward to making some more clothes and I'm picking the next class so that I can start making my samples and I will keep y'all posted. Have a great rest of your week, everybody. And I will see y'all in the next video.